Welcome back to Let's Have It Out. My guests in studio are Mr. Jaco Mulder and Mr. Werner Human. Well, let's hear from one of our viewers. We asked if language, location, or family income should be excluded from determining which school your child should attend. Hank on Facebook says, and I quote, "White schools for white people and black schools for black people. We don't want these tsotzis stabbing each other in our schools." Thank you so much, Hank, for your comment. But surely I don't agree with you. I think you know by now. Do you agree with the sentiments?
No, not
White
at all.
schools for white
Not at
people
all.
and
I think
black schools for black people?
Not at all. I think if we break down South Africa, we are, as Mr. Mulder has stated, a community of communities. We have language demographics, and we believe Afrikaans, as Mr. Mulder has stated, is not only a white language, it's a multiracial language. So it's really the language rights on which we support and stand upon. And it was those rights that was balanced, we believe, in constitutional case law as well. As I was mentioning just before the break, you had the Ermelo judgment about 10 years ago or 8 years ago. In that judgment, the school did have much capacity. It was a single medium school. The only thing standing in the way was the language part of the school to gain access for more learners. The school, I believe, was 50% full of capacity. And in that case, we say we support that judgment because the capacity allowed for such thing. In the Verval matter, as also the Constitutional Court actually gave the rubber stamp on it, was that there were schools in the vicinity which had enough capacity. So that it will allow for Afrikaans to survive with the access balance of the access to education.
I like your selective quoting of court case. I mean, the Rivonia case here in Gauteng, it outlined very clearly who has the final mandate to deal with the issue of admissions. But let's take the caller that is on the line so that we can involve the callers. Let's take a call from Mike in Newlands. Mike Umshap.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, MEC, and good evening to you.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you, and thanks very much. Yeah, and it's wonderful. This is a very eye-opening show. I spent some time in the USA and in Canada. What I found is that there was a strong Chinese community, a strong black community, a strong Korean community where I lived. So I wasn't, when I left South Africa to go overseas, I found very much that most communities stuck together, and that didn't actually seem such a bad thing at the end of the day. They just didn't legislate against it. I look at our schooling system here, MEC, 6 years into our schools for a young child, a third of our children can't read. Surveys show that we're probably the worst in the world in our education system. If you look in South Korea, 90% of the 20 to 24-year-olds are in tertiary education, and in South Africa, particularly amongst our sadly black population, it's about 18%. So I think
let's leave it there, Mike. I really don't agree with you. You know, when you say a certain portion of learners can't read or write, when you don't compare it broadly with institutions and countries that has participated in those surveys, it becomes unfortunate. But that's a debate for another day, so let's not go there. Let me just take a comment from Pose Piri on Twitter. He says there should not be exclusion for learners with disabilities. Assessment tests should also not discriminate, but enable inclusive education. Thank you so much for your comment. Truly appreciate that. Let me come to you, Mr. Mulder. Why do you think I must be charged through the Integrity Commission in the Gauteng legislature? What is it that I did that you think is wrong?
Well, the reason is quite simple. Mr. Lesofo, you've got a constitutional court ruling against you and your department, with all respect. And
which one?
The one with Hoërskool Overval.
Did you read that judgment?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And according to that and your oath that you have got in your office when you were sworn in as a member of the executive in the Gauteng government, you are accountable to uphold the Constitution of South Africa, which, with respect, in my opinion, has already overstepped. And that's the main reason
which
why.
Which part? Tell me, which part of overstepped?
Article 29.
Yes, which part of Article
Which part?
29? Yeah.
Well, can I read it to
speak
you?
about the official language, you speak about languages,
every
speak
South
with limited
African has got the
resources
right.
and opportunity. Which part?
Yeah, every South African has got the right to be able to be taught in a language of their choice. But
official language.
Official language,
yeah.
regardless what the language.
And Sepedi is not an official language.
But Afrikaans is an official
But I'm
language.
saying-
Xhosa is an official language.
That I'm
Any
saying.
official
So they can be in the same class,
Like-
they can be taught by the same
In
teacher,
which
under
language?
the same roof, and the
which
language of
language?
their choice.
Yes, but
Yes.
as long as it is English.
No. Any language.
Because that's the situation, the reality that you are creating.
Mr. Mulder, Afrikaans is one of the 11 official languages. Section 29 says any official language. English is an official language.
Agreed.
Xhosa is an official language. The argument we are putting here is to say why all our children can't study under one roof, taught by the same teacher, and they can be in a position to play at the same playground. Why it's not possible under the institutions that listens to you. Mr. Human.
Let me see if I may interject.
Yeah.
I believe there are some mixed messages from the Gauteng department pertaining to language.
Yeah.
And with respect, a lot of it from yourself. If there's one
Please feel free.
portion that I've picked up of one of the articles you've written. One portion states, what our rainbow nation urgently needs is a ruling that recognizes a language policy for what it is, a malignant policy that harms everyone and is in very essence of racism. Unlike the policy of racial integration, some languages policies propagate all the evils inherent in racism.
Mr. Human, what are you scared of our people? Tell me, what are you scared? Because there's nothing. What you are quoting, I'm saying if a school and the demographics have changed and people want to apply for online admissions, they must not say, I can't apply at this particular school because this school is strictly Afrikaans. We say apply so that we can know how many people need English, or how many people need Zulu, or how many people need to be taught in a particular language in that particular school if there is available space. This gentleman has taken me to the legislature purely because I'm asking for people to apply. And I'm saying, what's wrong with that? Yourself, you are worse off. I mean, you are just on a strike now in Sasol, purely because it benefits historically people that have been excluded from the economy. So you can't claim when you don't have membership of black people in a union, you can't claim when you represent always the interest of those that don't want to be part of this democratic society. You represent those that wants to fly an apartheid flag at a rugby match.
That's grossly generalizing.
No, I'm saying that's the institution, but that's the institution that you represent. That's what we see out of you. Why will you stop people to benefit out of Sasol?
Let me see, if you say solidarity and we, or AfriForum and we, there's not one instance where you would find any of those things. Yeah. The Sasol thing, we have black shop stewards at Sasol. We have black members at Sasol.
How many?
I don't have the figure with me now.
People, how many?
No, without a doubt, we've got more white members.
But so that's the society you need.
The fact is, if we are more white than black, does it make us de facto racist? Because that's the argument that you are.
Your orientation and your thinking will be inclined because you will want to defend the privileges of those privileges that are not there. Like Mr. Mulder, you wish apartheid can come back, isn't it?
Opposition on Sasol.
Let's give Mr. Mulder an opportunity. You wish apartheid can come back?
No. Mr. Lesufri, with all respect, what the department should concentrate on is to improve education where it's less adequate and be thankful for schools who are well functioning and not destroy those schools, but better the education where it should be, where there's room for improvement. And with all respect now, what we're talking about now is politics. We're talking about proper education. That's all that should matter. Education of the children, not ideology.
It's just unfortunate that you don't know that politics was brought within the education space by those people that led this country before. We didn't do that. For them to impose Afrikaans to our leaders in, around June 16, 1976 is nothing else but politics. So you can't accuse us when we are trying to resolve this problem. But let's take a break and then we'll come back later on. We take more of your questions and comments after the break. Please don't go away.